Hi, let me tell you how to work with content grids in Control. So content grids are a set of components that can be found here in the component browser, and we have different ones, and grids is just a subset of components, and those components help you to create content grids. So why would you want to use a content grid in Control? So first, it's easy to maintain and update. So you can use regular images or rectangles to build your grid, but every time you need to add something else, some new one, there's a trouble because you need to move them around and do a lot of work. With grids, it's much easier to do. That's the first one. Then you would want to use them because they are easy to adapt for mobile. Let's scan this. So they have preset settings for all layouts, and I'll show you how to work with it. And I guess the third one is what I call design consistency. You can be sure that all the design changes, all the typography settings apply to all of your grid, not only to single elements of your grid. So let's create our first grid. We go here, go to grids. Let's start with the Neptune. Here we go, it's ready. Where can we start? First, there's two modes, editing mode and previewing mode. Right now we are in editing mode, so we see all of those padding controls. You see you can change overall paddings, different paddings, it's all consistent throughout the grid. And you can also choose options and general settings and etc. of your grid. If you double click, you enter a preview mode. You see is this eye indicator lights up, and you can preview your grids. For example, you can look at the slider, you can click and browse through the light box, and etc. For example, I can show text on hover, and now in a preview mode, when I'll be hovering, I'll be seeing my text, and etc. Those are difference between preview and editing. Let's go to the general settings. So general settings right here, they start with grid options, and every component, not every, but many components have different design options to them, and they vary by component. In terms of grids, those options mostly define text alignment in the grid. So we have option A like that, C, D, E, F, so different combinations of text alignment and image alignment. So we can start with with B. Here some general settings, and as I told on mobile, look, I switched to mobile and we have already pre-designed template for mobile, for iPad, and also for mobile. It's in a very structured way. You don't have to arrange each box and each name by the hand. Okay, so what's next? Settings. And if you want to leave the preview mode back into editing mode, you just hit escape, just like that. So you can select different amount of columns from 2 to 4 for this particular kind of grid. And you have these 3 connected settings. Those are width of the grid, width of the entry, which corresponds to the width of this image, and your gutter. Those are connected. So for example, I can lock one setting. For example, I want my grid to be 1440 at max, and then everything else that I will be adjusting will work within this size. You can also adjust gutters. Here it's an interesting one, it's a text width. So it's a text width in percents in relation to the width of the entry. So right now it's 200, but you can make it smaller and smaller, and it will adjust your grid. I like to keep it around 150 for this grid, and maybe we can make this image 120, just like that, and maybe we can make a wider gutter, just like that. Maybe we can keep this one a bit bigger, 200%, and you can play with different paddings and settings right here. So then we have entries amount. This is more a technical one. It defines how many entries you have in your grid. Auto means all the entries in your content list will be shown, and you can switch to fixed. Then you can select how many entries you'd like to be shown in your grid. Let's keep it auto. Show text, I already covered that. Do you want to show text always or on hover? And you see nothing changes right now, but when I enter the preview mode, you can see that you can preview your hover effect. Let's get out here. Align entries is basically how you want to align entries. You can, if that will work better with different images, different ratios of images, but you can align them by center, top, or bottom. It's not very needed in this particular case. So those are general settings. Image settings. You can change the way how you want your image to display it. You can have it set as cover, so all the images will use custom radius. You can switch those radius just like that. Or you can use fit as we have right now. Round corners, that's self-explanatory. You can have lightbox on or off, so it depends on where you want your grid to lead your user. You want to add a link, so it's going to lead to a separate page for your case study or project, or you can have lightbox on and it will open just a lightbox with the image. Depends on what you want. And in lightbox you can have image displayed as fit or as cover. So with cover it will be shown on all your screen. You can have sliders inside grid, like here. Slider is on, timing is 3 seconds, and transition is fade. You can have transition slide. It's gonna slide right now. Horizontal or vertical or random, wherever. And what else? I think that's it for image. For type, very simple. You can choose your typeface to be wherever you want. I like this one, for example, just like that. And you can select your type settings. Those should be pretty familiar to you. Word settings, word spacing, and you can select type styles. And also what's cool about this one is that you can right click, like you can select the style here, and yeah, I think right click will be useful in a different grid with more. So in grid where you have more type styles, you'll be able to click on any setting and apply it to all other type styles. But because in grid we only have 2 type styles, it's not really needed. So we adjusted our type styles. What else? Maybe before moving to the content, let's shrink our vertical gap just a little bit, so, and maybe let's increase text width. So you see it's pretty easy to come up with some custom designs. And content is interesting. Content is basically your CMS, your entries. So you have title, subtitle, gallery. Gallery can have one image, or it can have multiple images, and you can add your media right here. You can add your covers to your media. You can add links. Super easy. You can add new entry. That's straightforward. And for mobile, for iPad, all those style settings are layout specific, so you can have different widths and different settings for different layouts. So for example, here, maybe we want to decrease the grid, maybe we want to decrease this one, just like that. Maybe you want to decrease an overall width even more. You want to decrease gutter. Maybe you want to increase entry, a little bit, and then maybe you want to add some spacing right here, and you have yourself a grid. On mobile it's the same. So here you can adjust spacings, you can adjust paddings and all this kind of stuff. So this one is a Neptune grid, which is my favorite one, but also another one which I also like is Catalogue. It's a bit different grid, as you might see. Here it is. You can increase the size, and maybe we can add some other grid just below so you will see it better. So here's our catalog. Let's delete this one. Here's our catalog, and let me just make the page a little bigger, just like that, so you can see the grid. It's a different grid, it has much more columns, you can use whatever amount of columns you want. Every other settings are the same. But what's make it different is here in this grid you can browse within images of one entry, and all the entries are separate in Lightbox. In Catalog you can browse through all of the images, just like that, through all of your grid in this cool little Lightbox. You can change all the colors here. For example, you can change the Lightbox color to be black. Now it's gonna be black. Type settings is the same, but here you see you have this apply all button, because you have like title, subtitle and caption, and you can see them. Let me just make them white, and you can see them inside of the Lightbox. I'll show you in a minute. So you see you have title, subtitle and caption, just like that. And you can also edit them from your content, just right here. And remember this right click in type settings I mentioned before. So here it works. Here, for example, you have Arial and you want to change your typeface to something else. You can change it here. And then when you go here, you see that only one text is changed, others left unchanged. So what you can do, you can just apply to all, and all of your styles will be inherited by other. Texts. It's also responsive. You can set up your different layouts for different breakpoints. Yeah, those are the grids. You can play with them, you can customize them as much as you want. Super flexible, super fun, and super easy to maintain. So if you want to have a long portfolio or long catalog of your works, I recommend using grid components. It's gonna save you so much time and it's super fun to work with. Alright, see you in the next videos.